So, part three of escaping my covert narcissist wife. She just attacked me as far as shoving me with her chest, trying to get me to, as far as saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" I told her to get out of the study. She stops, goes, screams out the window, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Ah! Flails about, does a fake fall outside the hallway, gets up, "I'm calling the police!" Spit coming out of her mouth. Now, I spoke to other people on the phone. They said go outside, wait for the police. I'm like, yep, that's the right thing to do. Cops show up. He asked me what happened. I've given him a description or the whole the like an explanation. That's what it's called on why she did it. Because I filed for divorce. Another officer goes in there. They talk to her. And the big problem on her end is not just her background of lying to the police, and then in my position on being very justice bound and having a reputation with the police for reporting them for their actions. But she left out the culprit, not the culprit, the like the trigger on how the whole incident started. She did not tell the police about me filing for divorce and that happened right before the altercation, which tells you a lot. You know, that says a lot about someone. And, hold on, I'm going to wipe this phone real quick. So, I'm like about to have a panic attack. The cops can see it in my face. I do not have it in me to even defend myself right now, let alone just randomly viciously attack someone. I mean, I'm exhausted. I look like death. I have all that work I have to do that day. I don't even have I don't even have the energy to do because she does this with every day I have off. Whenever I have time off, she does whatever she can to keep me from doing it and just attack me and just be a fucking crazy bitch. It was terrible. It was terrible. So I let the officers know that I spoke to one of the world leading um, experts on narcissists within relationships, and that woman told me not to tell my ex-wife that I filed the divorce paperwork, otherwise she would attack me. And I let them know too that psychologist guaranteed it, 100% guaranteed it that she would attack me, and I would be in a very dangerous situation because a covert narcissist has to be in total control of you. Otherwise, they lose it and they'll go through any means to show you who's boss. So I let him know that, and that my ex wife refused to take her treatment, her medications, or supplements after I bought her, after I paid for her spec scan and got that done. Like, there's so much stuff that was done for her. And I let the officer know. I let him know. So they go in there. She leaves the divorce out of it. He comes back. He asks me about the marks on her body. I think he's lying to me to try and get me to say something in case I did. And I realized that she has reached that level of crazy, where she would hit herself and leave marks because she talked about that all the time, and how lucky I was that she was the only woman in the world who would never do that to a man, but every other woman she knows would, and starts naming all of her friends who've done it, and how if she ever wanted to put me away, it'd be that easy. That's all she would have to do. So I believe there are too many holes in her story. Um, because she's not able to keep a story straight. I've seen her change her story 8 times within 2 minutes and yell at me saying I wasn't listening, and then start a new story completely different on on the subject, and just keep doing it. She just couldn't keep her she couldn't keep her lies together. She couldn't remember her lies. And she lied a lot. Like, she lied a lot. She lied so much that I realized when I was with her that I had to try and count on one hand how many times she told the truth. It was really bad. It was really bad. And she would try and grab things to support a new lie. And then when you'd bring up to her as far as, well, there's these other things that you left out of it that doesn't match, she would yell at you and say you weren't listening. And then come up with a completely new thing with the new stuff and forget about some of the old stuff, and the lie still wouldn't fit. So, this whole thing happens with the police. They write up the report. My ex-wife refuses to leave the house. She got plenty of places to go, but she had no boundaries. Whenever she always told me to, if I ever needed time to myself, since I was away from home and in a different state, she had plenty of friends and everything to go stay at, that she would go ahead and do that. Stay at someone else's house, like our friend's B&B that he had. And I asked her 3 times, and all times it was a no. And when she saw that she got me to that point where I'd actually ask her to please, give me that opportunity to have time, she would actually become way, way, way worse and really start yelling at me and trying to stress me out about stupid things. And she'd have this grin on her face while she did it. So I had nowhere to go, and it didn't matter. I mean, I actually spent tons of time at the yard where the truck was based at work, and I had spent a whole day out there, you know, um, because this was a crazy person. She would murder. She would murder. Like, if she wanted to steal something from someone, and they protected themselves from her, I could see her murdering them, not to just get that, but as a state of revenge for not allowing her to abuse them. Like, this was a dangerous person. Um, so the police, they went in the house with me to stay between her and me, which was nice. I had no clean clothes. The car wasn't running. It wasn't going to make it very far. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? It's like I've given all of my resources to this woman and gave her total control. Well, we had 3 accounts, okay? Three bank accounts. Originally, it was 2. I had my account, my checking account, that was a Chase Bank account, that became a joint account. So she had full access to all my money. Then there was another account where I finally got her to get a job, and that account had all of her money in it. So I wanted her to save up her money, and everything that we would spend, even for her personal stuff, clothes, gas, for 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 stuff, everything. When she went out, groceries, all bills came out of the joint account, which was my money. When things started getting really bad within the last few months, and I told her, you need to start helping pay bills. She's like, well, of course I do. I'm like, stop, stop. The answer is yes. Then you are gonna start doing that. Good, because I'm not gonna pay everything anymore, because you need to learn to be an adult. You know, I mean, I just had enough of her. when she said, "Well, of course, blah blah blah," even though it would never be that way, you know. And that's how it is with the narcissist. You would say something so complicated or something that they had no idea of knowing, and they'd be like, "Well, of course." And what my ex-wife did when I was talking about the particle as far as quantum entanglement in a black hole, being able to send a satellite out there with a signal, as these particles that are uh, these particles that are um, in a quantum lock would be too small for the time slowing down with gravity in a black hole wouldn't affect it. We'd have a live feed. She says, "Yeah, you didn't know that?" And there is absolutely no possible way she would ever know such a thing. Because she didn't even know half of the stuff I was talking about when it came to the technicalities of science or law or psychology. And she'd always be like, "You didn't know that?" I mean, it was ridiculous. A total, like, ugh. Anyways, so what happens here is I uh, I have that account, the Chase account that we share, and I stopped putting all my money into it. I start putting about 80% of my money in a separate account that I had from California with a credit union that I was able to keep open and just keep just a little bit of money going in there in case I ever had to use it. So 80% of my money starts going in that account, and I let her know we're gonna close the joint account, the Chase account, and we still had bills coming out of that account. So when I got away from the house and I had nothing with me, the boss, the owner of this company I work for now, got me a room at the Hilton, which I love the Hilton, and I went to our Chase account because I did not have my debit account with me and I had no way to draw out funds from the credit union in California. And I did not have any credit cards or credit because I was going to have to file bankruptcy with that situation. Like, she really put me in a bad spot financially. I go to the ATM for the Chase bank account and saw that she just happened to put a couple $100 in there. And it's like, okay, everything I've done for her, all the resources, all the money, everything I put into her, and the tens of thousands of dollars and stuff that she's gotten for her house of me, I do not feel bad at all taking this money and using it today for the things I need. And I didn't just use it for the things that I needed, I used it for luxury. I went out, I bought myself new clothes from Walmart, and then I had a really good sushi dinner at my favorite sushi restaurant, and people there recognized me. They hadn't seen me in a while, and they were so happy to see me without my ex-wife. Actually, a few girls came up to me talking to me. I got a few phone numbers that day. Didn't do anything with them, but it made me feel better, that they gave me their phone numbers, and they were very lovely, lovely women, you know. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this difference is amazing how I'm attracting people with my personality, which I haven't done in 6 years because I was around that crazy, terrible, disgusting, draining person, you know? Um, and I I just had a good time making people laugh and everything. And I remembered who I am when I was out there. I always do that right there. I always prepare to turn one intersection too early. But the issue was, I knew the next day I was going to have to be around that dangerous person again once I got out of the hotel. And I had nightmares of her that night. It kept repeating. The anxiety was really high again, where I was just like, the acid reflux was extremely bad. And I mean, I was thinking, okay, I can make it through this. My suicidal tendencies left, and I realized that I could make it and survive if I get away from this woman. And I had to figure that out. But first, I had to have a plan on how I was going to stay in that house without her murdering me, because she would do it now that she no longer had control over me. Because I was going to stop paying the bills and I was going to stop participating in everything. She had to start taking care of herself, and that's something she would definitely murder me over. So anyway, didn't think it was going to take this long, but I guess I'll have to do a part 4.